What you gonna do, brother, when the Kyle Peterson Top 10 9,000 subscribers special Hulk Hogan countdown runs wild on you? Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for a very special video. They're all special in their own way, but this is a very special one. It is the Hulk Hogan Top 10 Countdown. We count them down from 10 to 1 of my all-time favorite Hulk Hogan figures, the 9,000 subscriber special. I thank each and every one of you guys for subscribing to the channel, and if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Yes, you sitting there on the couch, make sure you subscribe, hit the old notification bell, as every single Thursday on the channel, we're doing a top 5 countdown of my favorite figures from whatever venue it might be, or whatever wrestler it might be, or action figure line. We got a lot of these videos to come, but every once in a while we're going to do some top 10, some key performers out there, and I said it all along, at 9,000 subscribers, we were going to do a top 10 Hulk Hogan, possibly the most popular wrestler of all time, a pretty good bet at that, most popular wrestler of all time, and the biggest wrestling superstar of all time, at least as of now. Things may change down the line, but as of right now, Hulk Hogan's a pretty big deal in the terms of the wrestling universe for all the years wrestling's been around. So it's fitting we're doing a top 10, and like I said, thank you guys hitting the 9,000 subscriber mark. I said we'll do this. Now the march heads to 10,000. It might be the slow march to 10,000, but we'll get there one of these days. You guys tell a friend, share the videos, tell your buddies to subscribe, grab your grandma's phone, subscribe on your grandma's phone, whatever it takes. But at 10,000 subscribers, we're going to do the Ultimate Warrior Top 10. It's going to be the hardest thing. It's going to like be choosing between my kids, choosing between my dogs. Very difficult to do, even though Lemmy's my favorite. You guys know that. But we'll do a top 10 Ultimate Warrior countdown, but we got to hit 10,000 first, and once we get 10,000 subscribers, we're going to do a bunch of giveaways on the channel. There's going to be a lot of fun videos around the 10,000 milestone, so be prepared for that, and like I said, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. But Hulk Hogan, a deep, deep figure collector. I don't know if he's a figure collector, but he's had a lot of figures over the years, what I'm trying to say. We've had Hulk Hogan in about every single line throughout the years. So this is truly one of those top 10s that you got to really run the whole gamut. And that's one of the things I do give to the channel. I feel like maybe I have a different opinion of some people based on my ages and stuff. This is my top 10 countdown, as you guys know. But I've been there from pretty much the start of Hulk Hogan figures to modern day. So I've played with, I've collected with all these figures. And out of all my years of collecting, this is how I broke down my list. It really took me a while to do a top 10 here, but I got my list official. It's ready to go. I think you're going to see some surprises here, and you might see some things you probably wouldn't think of to be on the list, and I think you're going to say, oh yeah, of course that's going to be on the list. Of course you'll have some of those. But once again, this is my list, as you guys know, and I'm asking you guys, get your list together. Maybe do it before the video. Put your top 10 in order. That's why I always challenge you guys. It's very easy to say, oh, that shouldn't be number 1. Well, give me your list. I want to see your 1 through 10. Count them down from number 1 being your favorite, of course. It's a lot harder to do when you have to put them in order, and that is the fun of it. So get your list together, compare it with mine, and post your list in the comments. But here it goes. We're going to start it off at number 10 in my list of the top Hulk Hogan figures of all time as voted by me. All right, we're kicking it off with number 10, and I think this is a sleeper Hulk Hogan. I think this is one a lot of people will not have on their list, so you guys, if you do, put it in the list, obviously. But number 10, we're headed to Jack's, and we're not going where you think we're going with Jack's. We're going with Jack's Unmatched Fury from 2007. Hulk Hogan statue figure, more of a statue, but very cool. And you guys know we've talked about Unmatched Fury in the past on the channel. Man, they have some amazing figures like this one, the Ultimate Warrior, the Ric Flair is really good, and then you have some that are just absolutely god-awful, like the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and a few other ones, Honky Tonk Man. But really interesting line out there. I don't think they were very popular at the time. I never felt they were very popular, at least in my Toys R Us stores that I would see them at. But ones like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Ultimate Warrior, those did move. But it would see some, especially of the modern day guys, that would sit forever. You know, I remember MVP hanging around forever, Fit Finleys, those kind of guys out there. But the Legends, as usual, would sell pretty good, and Hulk Hogan no different. And some of these figures have really gained in value over the last few years. Really a sleeper set, the Unmatched Furies. Even that Ted DiBiase, which I find to be the worst one, usually sells for over $100, which is just crazy to me. But it is what it is. And this Hulk Hogan very possibly could, very arguably could be, if we did a top 5 Unmatched Furies of all time, I'd have a pretty strong case this would be number 1. This is Hulk Hogan, what you think of. These were only, I think, 18, 19 bucks back in the day. Just seemed like an amazing value. I used to have a loose one. I did sell it. I just have an in-box one now. But this is Hulk Hogan. This is what you think of. I believe this represents Hulk Hogan with Sergeant Slaughter time frame, if I remember by that t-shirt, I think. Him fighting the old Sergeant Slaughter when Sergeant Slaughter joined Iraq. What was he thinking? We'll never forgive him. But Sergeant Slaughter, he'll tell you what's a Nemesis Enforcer. So can we really take him seriously when he had to battle for his life in Cobra Law? That's the story for a G.I. Joe video. We guys know that story by now. But this Hogan looks awesome. He does have a little ring he displays in. But Hogan ripping his shirt, that's one of the most iconic images you'll see of Hulk Hogan. And it just looks extremely solid here. Love the world title belt. When I think of title belts, that's the first belt that comes to my mind. Just absolutely love the old winged eagle there. Just classic. This is Hulk Hogan, classic Hulk Hogan, and it's very underrated. It really flies under a lot of people's radar to this day and age. I'm not sure if anybody else would have this in their top 10, but when I looked at all my Hulk Hogans and I went through the list of all Hulk Hogan figures, that's where this one came to me, and this came to me at number 10. So number 10, the Unmatched Fury, Hulk Hogan. All right, we're feeling fine at number 9. It's time for number 9 Hulk Hogan figure of all time, and I guarantee there's some people that are watching this video that are putting a list together that this is going to be their number 1 figure. And I can't really argue with you. It's your list. I get it. But this very well could be the most iconic wrestling figure of all time. Think about that for a second. You probably know where I'm going. When people think Hulk Hogan, this is Hulk Hogan action figures. This is what they think of. And guess what? Being a child of the 80s, you know where this is going. We're talking the LJN Hulk Hogan, the first Hulk Hogan LJN figure. Yes, this one. You guys all know this figure. You've seen it a million times. You know about this figure? When I was growing up as a kid, there was tons of kids that watched wrestling, and there was a ton of kids that didn't like wrestling and didn't watch it at all. But guess what? Even those kids that didn't watch wrestling at all, they had this figure. That's how iconic this Hulk Hogan figure was back in the day, and I couldn't argue with anybody that would have this at number 1. This truly probably is the most iconic wrestling action figure of all time. Grandparents down to teenagers this day can identify this figure. They've seen this figure at some point in their life. We've seen this in the background of TV shows over the years. It's just the most iconic Hulk Hogan figure, if not the most iconic wrestling figure of all time. I'd be lying. Some of you guys are probably saying, hey, why is this so far down your list? Definitely played with this one a lot, but for whatever reason, I didn't really care for this figure compared to my other LJN figures. I always felt like this wasn't the Hulk Hogan I wanted. I didn't want this Hulk Hogan. I wanted a Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was never a favorite of mine. I was an Ultimate Warrior kid. I loved Piper as a kid. I respected Hulk. Obviously, I watched him every week, but I was not a little Hulkamaniac. I was one of the few that were not a little Hulkamaniac. I knew I needed Hulk Hogan, of course, in my playing days. I had to have him. But he would win the world title every once in a while. He'd lose it to Andre or somebody else would beat him. So he was in the mix in the title picture. But he was by no means my favorite LJN. Nowhere near probably my top 5 or 10 LJNs of all time either. But I understood the significance of having this, and every kid had to have this in their child LJN collection. It just didn't speak to me like it spoke to a lot of kids out there. And like I said, I wasn't a little Hulkamaniac. So I think that is part of the reason this is so far down in my Hulk Hogan list. But the Hulk Hogan LJN, undoubtedly the most iconic figure of all time in the wrestling headspace. And that is why he's at number 9 for me. All right, we're at the number 8 spot in the list, and number 8 is another extremely iconic Hulk Hogan figure. One I had as a kid, once again, and I had to get this the first time I saw it. I always say it on the channel, I was very thankful my dad understood collecting at a very early age. He understood, hey, we're not going to most of the time, and we did from time to time, but he would know, hey, there's a new set there. We better just get them all. Let's get this over with. We know we're going to buy these all eventually. Let's just get them all in one fell swoop. And then he'd say, you know, you're not getting anything else for the rest of the month. And then my dad, he was just an old sucker. He wanted to make old Kyle happy, and he would take me to the Toys R Us or KB or whatever, and he'd get me something else. He always would. But I was a good kid. I was a good kid. He'd tell you I was a good kid. I was always listening. Peterson. I was always obeying my commands out there and doing the right thing. So he'd always treat me. But I remember seeing this and my mind being absolutely blown. And we're talking about Hasbro WWF figures, of course. Hulk Hogan Series 1, the old Hulk Rules shirt. Talk about mind-blowing. I just can't describe, but I'm going to try to, I guess. Being a little kid, you know, being 8, 9, 10 years old when these came out, the start of the Hasbro, the finishing up of the LJNs, not knowing LJNs were done. Once again, this is back in the 80s. You didn't know what was going on. LJNs were done, and I didn't know they were done. I was like, oh, the next set will come out, whatever. I talked before, I got the Black Card series. When I was a kid, my dad got it. We got it through the mail for, I think it was Christmas or my birthday. I always forget. But we got that set, except Rick Rude. I didn't want him because I said, what am I going to do with that Rick Rude figure? But knowing those were out, and I figured, oh, well, the next set, it'll come. And it never really came. And then one day we're at Toys R Us. You walk in, and you guys remember the entranceway you'd weave around at Toys R Us. And there it was, a whole 4-foot section, which to an 8-year-old kid looks a mile wide. There it was, Hasbro's Series 1, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Demolition, Jake the Snake, Andre, you know, all the favorites, the tippy top guys, of course. And there it was, Hulk Hogan. I couldn't believe it. Obviously, Ultimate Warrior drew my eye real quick. And I love that whole series. I was a kid of the Hasbro age. I was of that beautiful age that played with LJNs and Hasbros, had both of them, got the best of both worlds. And there's kids that are older than me that were only Hasbro, or only LJNs. There was kids younger than me that were only Hasbros. I fit that beautiful window to play with both and collecting both and enjoying both. So once again, I always say I just felt like I grew up in the best time, but I feel like a lot of people probably say that, and you should. Hopefully you did. But this one, once again, very similar to that last Hulk Hogan. I had to have it. It was iconic. Yes, he had the title in my federation every once in a while. Warrior'd have to lose every once in a blue moon because you'd have to have him rise back up. But we'd have this match. I'd have this match with him and Andre and stuff like that. But even at an early age, I wasn't a huge fan of this position. The old gorilla press action and stuff. Wasn't a huge fan of that gimmick. The jumper was my least favorite gimmick of all time. That was pretty disappointing on that Ultimate Warrior, and I'm sure we'll talk about that one day as well on the channel. But this Hulk Hogan wasn't as iconic. I wouldn't say it was the Hulk Hogan I'm looking for. Very similar to that last LJN Hulk Hogan. Very interesting dynamic between those two. Yes, I played with it. Yes, I had it. But by no means is this my favorite Hulk Hogan figure ever. But it is iconic, and that's why it's here on my list at number 8. And a lot of people, I could see some people having this as number 1, depending on your age bracket. And I wouldn't doubt you at all. But for me, he comes in, the Hulk Hogan Hasbro Series 1, coming in at number 8 on my top 10 list. All right, here we are at the number 7 position. We're doing a big fast forward into the future at number 7. Part of one of the most iconic lines of the Mattel toys for WWE figures. Mattel Defining Moments, that is. The Defining Moments Hulk Hogan Mattel figure. This, my friends, was a big deal. I'm sure a lot of you guys got this when it came out. A lot of you guys collect the Defining Moments line. The Defining Moments line was an amazing line. Little rose-colored glasses this day and age. A lot of people see the values of these and how much they cost and everything else. But if you go back to when these were coming out, a lot of these went to clearance. A lot of these peg-warmed. They were a little bit more expensive, as you guys know. Hulk Hogan, of course, sold very well. Ultimate Warrior sold very well. But most of them did go to a clearance bin or got discounted and stuff like that, which is funny. All these years later, it seems just absolutely crazy. And I know a lot of the current day Ultimate Edition collectors out there are buying multiples of the Ultimate Edition because they remember these Defining Moments skyrocketing a few years back. Well, Ultimate Editions are doing that, so I guess you hedged your bets the right way. But Ultimate Editions, boy, I thought they were going to be done about a year ago, honestly. We've talked about that on the channel before. That Shinsuke set really kind of killed the town, killed the territory. But they came back with a vengeance with some of those online exclusives, the values peaking. Now we saw the new generation ring and all that. Ultimate Editions have skyrocketed, very similar to the Defining Moments. And one thing I do like about the Defining Moments is it just has its amount of figures. It's just one and done. It's not ongoing. I wouldn't be opposed if they brought it back like a once-a-year Defining Moment or something like that. But this is pretty iconic. You got the iconic packaging. You've got the iconic Hulk Hogan in the Mattel headspace. It looks awesome. It displays awesome. As you guys know, I'm a double up guy, so I had to have 2 of the Defining Moments. So I do have a loose version right here as well. This is Hulk Hogan. He's got the tearaway shirt. He's got the cross. One thing I do like with this Hulk Hogan, that some of the basics and some of the other Hulk Hogans that we've seen, I love the headband here and it fits in here like sunglasses. But we do have some Hogans released where there's nothing there and you can see that little hole. That drives me absolutely nuts. But for this one, it truly works. Truly phenomenal packaging. Just what this represents, I think, is such a big deal. As you guys know, the packaging is amazing on this with the clear window box in the back. You can just really see the whole figure. I mean, it's just Hulkamania is what that is, to a T. And the Mattel Defining Moments, one of my favorite Mattel lines they've ever released. Even though, like I said, people have the rose-colored glasses with that line a little bit. But I truly enjoyed it, and that's why I was doubling up on it pretty much the whole way. I didn't have to go back and spend absurd amounts to pick some of these up in the past. I had to pick up, a double Shinsuke, and that was pretty easy to do at the time. But this Hogan, it's a great Hogan, but I could see this being improved upon in the future, and I'm sure we'll get improved versions of this. Technology's changed so much with the double-jointed, the pinless, all that kind of stuff. We're going to get a Hulk Hogan Ultimate Edition of the traditional Hulk Hogan one of these days. I gotta think that's going to happen. The height of Hulkamania, that has to happen one of these days. But this Hulk Hogan, very, very solid. One of the best Mattel Hulk Hogans ever. One of the top Defining Moment figures ever as well. So there it is at number 7, the Defining Moments Hulk Hogan. All right, we're getting closer to the halfway point, but we're at number 6 right now. One thing I love, and you guys know what is one of my favorite things on the channel, we do a weekly series on it every single week on Tuesday. Cheap plug. Make sure you subscribe and follow. But number 6 for me, we head into the Jakks Classic Superstars territory. Yes, we do, but maybe not where you think. Jakks Classic Superstars, the Deluxe Classic Superstars, Series 1 Hulk Hogan. Toys R Us exclusive here in America, I believe. Was it available overseas? I think it was just Toys R Us in America exclusive. This was truly a game changer one. Deluxe Aggression, Deluxe Classics. Deluxe Classics are obviously more, I like them more than Deluxe Aggression. I do like Deluxe Aggressions though. I think Deluxe Aggressions could possibly be the most underrated wrestling figures of all time because they bridged that gap from the Ruthless Aggression to the Mattel Elites. There was a huge jump in technology, and the Deluxe Aggressions helped bring that in, if you ask me. But maybe we'll do a video on that one day. But this one, when I heard this was coming out, just like I've said before in some of these classic videos, the retailer exclusives were not promoted ahead of time. It's just, I think, a way a lot of companies went. They said the retailer's already bought X amount. We've got the sale. We don't need to put any of our budget towards promoting these things. And that's what we saw. And when these came up, I want to say it was probably the Wrestling Figures message board back in the day. That's where my brain always goes. California seemed to always get the Classic Superstars first back in the day for the most part. And seeing this, I said, this can't be. This can't be. Deluxe Aggression Classic Superstars, is this a thing? And these were hard to get from the go. I don't know about your Toys R Us, but my Toys R Us, extremely difficult to find these. I did, luckily, with my dad and I, hunting, hitting hard, hitting that pavement. Between him and I going to Toys R Us's, we did come through with a few of these. I do have a loose one of this one, of course, as well. Just such an iconic figure to me. I love the screaming head sculpt on this one. I know some people like more of a mild face, but I love this screaming, yelling Hulk Hogan here. I love the soft goods red shirt. We didn't get a whole lot of soft goods. This probably came out in 2006. Yep, 2006. We didn't get a lot of soft goods. This isn't the Mattel age. This was, hard plastic or nothing at all. We got soft goods with this, and not just soft goods, but tearaway soft goods for Hulk Hogan. And I've said it before in many of videos, to this day, I still find the Jakks Deluxe Classic Superstars title belts to be the best title belts ever made in any wrestling figure line ever. You can see his heavyweight title belt around his waist here. Just absolutely fabulous figure from top to bottom. You can smoke and mirrors these with your Ruthless Aggression and Mattels. Put a little bend in their knees and stuff, but they are a little bit bigger figure. But Hulk Hogan, he's so much larger than life. He is a big dude. He's a big figure. And it just... it hit me everywhere I wanted to be hit at the time. It's such an iconic figure out there. The chase was so iconic. Thinking the rarity of this line. I mean, Series 1, let me read down who was in Series 1 of Deluxe Class Superstars. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, The Rock, and Hulk Hogan. 5 of the biggest wrestlers of all time. If people said those are the best wrestlers of all time, you couldn't really argue that. Those are the tippy top guys for Series 1. Talk about starting with a bang. That was just the way to go. And that's Just so many good memories of this one, and I just really, to this day, think this is one of the best Hulk Hogan figures of all time. And, you know, maybe you guys have this on your list, maybe you don't, but there it is at number 6 for me, Deluxe Classic, Series 1, Hulk Hogan. All right, here we are. We're at the halfway point. We're at the number 5 spot. You have your list together? Are you ready to put it in the comments? Have I made you change your list at all with some of the ones I have so far? Anxious to read your top 10 list. I know there's a lot of Hulkamaniacs out there, so put your top 10 in the comments below. But number 5 for me, we're headed back to Jakks Classic Superstars. You guys know I love Jakks Classic Superstars. We've been going through them all on the channel. We just did a deluxe one. Those videos are still to come. We still got to go through all the deluxe classics on the channel. So if you're not subscribed, you're not following along those Jakks videos Tuesday, you got time, but we're going to dive into that line here in a month or so, maybe 2 months. We'll see where it goes. But number 5 for me, Jakks Classic Superstars, Series 8 Hulk Hogan, but which one? Which one in Series 8? It's the classic Hulk Hogan from Series 8. 2005? Yep, 2005. 2006 on that last one, 2005 on this one. And I do tell you guys, I've said it in the videos for the Jakks Classic Superstars, I truly feel that Series 8 Jakks Classic Superstars is what cemented the line and helped us carry on to the 20+ sets we got. Bringing Hulk Hogan in, without Hulk Hogan in a Classic Superstar set, is it really a Classic Superstar set? Say what you want about Hulk Hogan. I've said it before, I was an Ultimate Warrior guy. I was never a Hulk Hogan guy, but I understand his importance to wrestling. He was a big part of my childhood, all that kind of stuff, like a lot of you guys. He was in every pay-per-view, everything. So Hulk Hogan definitely had to be in the Classic Superstars line, and a lot of us hardcore guys that were collecting, and where's Hogan? When's Hogan going to be there? And Jeremy Padawer, he doesn't get enough credit. He gets a lot of credit, but he doesn't get enough credit out there of what he did with that line to signing people and stuff, and Hogan finally becoming friends with WWE again after all those years, all that kind of stuff going on. But finally, we got Hulk Hogan in the Classic Superstars line, and this Hogan, and we got Hollywood Hogan in Series 8 together. We'll just show it right here. How about a heavy hitter lineup? Series 8. Chief Jay Strongbow, well, we're getting him in Mattel soon. He was the peg warmer of the set. Bruiser Brody, one of the most crazy wrestlers of all time. We need a Mattel of him. I don't know if it'll ever happen. And then, of course, the 2 Hulk Hogans. Then you got classy Freddie Blassie. Cool to put a manager in there. Vader, oh my gosh, that was a game changer as well. Jerry the King Lawler, and then Cowboy Bob Orton. What a slam dunk set. But those 2 Hogans and that Vader and the Bruiser Brody took this set to the next level. And then you had Freddie Blassie and Strongbow as more of a peg warmers of the set. Lawler did pretty good with the soft goods, and then Bob Orton was a little bit of a peg warmer too, but a phenomenal set, and I think we owe it to this set that really cemented the Classic Superstars in the pantheon of the greatest wrestling lines of all time with these 2 Hulk Hogans. And this is the thing, we see this now, we've seen it especially during COVID. We'll talk G.I. Joe for a second. G.I. Joe Classified Series, the Cobra Island exclusives, everybody found out how hard those were to get, and what that happened was you had the Hot Wheel collectors. You know the Hot Wheel guys. I'm sure there's no Hot Wheel guys watching these videos, but there's always the action figure collectors, the Hot Wheels, Matchbox guys. But guess what? Classic Superstar Series 8 got the attention of those Hot Wheels guys. They started poking around in my aisle. You don't be poking in my wrestling aisle there, Hot Wheel guy. But that's what it did. It brought so much attention to this line, and scalpers were getting after these Hogan figures and all that. Very similar to the Hot Wheel guys going in, hey, this Cobra Island, I heard that's worth a lot. Or a Marvel Legends collector. They see a Cobra Island figure out there, I'm going to buy that and scalp it. This was my first instance of seeing that in the real world. We saw it a lot with starting lineups too, I guess, which was somewhat around that time period, but it was just a different time, and this brought the attention to the Classic Superstars line, which took the world to another level, and I think we really still do a debt of gratitude to Jeremy Padawer for making wrestling figures what they are today. This brought so many new collectors that people stuck with Jakks into the Mattel, into the current day. So there you go. That's why this one is at number 5 for me. It's Hulk Hogan, Jakks Classic Superstars Series 8, the traditional Hulk Hogan. All right, we're at the number 4 list. We're counting them down to number 1, and we're at number 4, Hulk Hogan figures of all time as voted by me, and this is probably the most controversial one. I think there's going to be a lot of controversy here. You know what Eric Bischoff says, controversy creates cash, but I'm going to explain my reason. You guys may not agree with my number 4 one here, and like I said, this probably will be one of the most controversial ones on my list when all is said and done, when the old dust settles. But for number 4, I'm going with Storm Collectibles. What Storm Collectible figure? Well, we're going with Hollywood Hulk Hogan Storm Collectibles. Yes, Storm Collectibles, known for their mini Jushin Liger figures now, but as we know, they had many Hulk Hogan figures, like 6? Was it 6? And they even had a big giant one as well. I wouldn't be opposed to getting that one of these days. I'm sure it's skyrocketed. But number 4 for me is the Hollywood Hogan Storm Collectibles. An amazing figure. All the Storm Collectibles are amazing. Some better than others, as you see here, of course, by the way they've been on my list. But this one, a lot of people are saying, probably right now sitting here, Kyle, what about the Ultimate Edition one? Well, is it coming up soon? No, it's not, actually. The Ultimate Edition Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hogan, did not make my top 10. I know that's sacrilegious to some of you guys there. I did bring that along. It's a good figure, but by no means is it top 10 great. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion. If some of you guys have a different opinion, hey, that's why it's my list. That's the way it goes. But I have gripes about this one with the boa, the headband, and the glasses. My glasses, they're just not. The look just doesn't go together. I just have some issues here. It's still a good figure. I just have issues with it, and I did the review on the channel. I talked about it. Go back and watch that if you want. But for my money, yes, this is a little bigger, but Hulk Hogan is one of those guys that was big. He was larger than life. You can smoke and mirror this in with your Mattel figures. I just find this one to be better all day long. The head sculpt's better. And now, once again, yeah, you got a $40 Mattel Ultimate Edition and a $60, $70, whatever. This is probably a $100+ figure now, this Hulk Hogan. Yes, it is a little bit more expensive, but you could say that about the whole top 10 list. A Hasbro was only $10 back then, so prices are kind of irrelevant here. We're not in the same headspace, though, between the two. This should be better. It costs more, but this is import quality, everything else. But you got the butterfly joints. You got all this, and this came out years before this one as well. But for my money, when I think Hollywood Hogan figures, this is the one. This was the game changer one. I know not everybody has this. Not everybody collects the Storms. But you can compare these two together. I mean, both are good figures. This Ultimate, though, just missed the mark on a few things for me, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just a little tragic. I would love to see them maybe try a redo, especially with the glasses, head sculpt, and bandana, and the boa just not fitting together. This came with extra hands, as you guys know. This came with boas. I don't have the boas on him right now. The boas are a little big, but just tremendous looking figures. I absolutely love this one. This is Hollywood Hulk Hogan to me. This is the prime, the best Hollywood Hogan figure that I've ever seen. And I think this is criminally underrated after all these years. This one has taken a lot off it, but I understand this is more mainstream. A lot more people have this one, so it makes sense. But if you can track this down, this Hollywood Hogan is next level. Just absolutely next level. All the Storm figures are next level, but some are better than others, even though they're getting the most out of their molds, like we always say. But this one, fabulous. Fabulous Hollywood Hulk Hogan. So that's why he comes in at number 4 for me. Oh boy, we're getting down to the end. We're getting down to the top 3. I'm sure some of these figures are in your top 10 list, and I'm sure some of them that you have in your top 10 list have not made this list yet. So I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say. But number 3, we return to one of my most fabled lines of all time. One that I had as a little kid. Not LJN's, we're going Hasbro. And what are we going to with Hasbro? We're going to Hulk Hogan. We're going to Hulk Hogan Hasbro series. I don't know what series this was, but the third Hulk Hogan, I always call it. Hulk Hogan 3. Now, we've got a lot of Hulk Hogans in the Hasbro line. We got the Hulk Hogan we saw earlier with the Gorilla Press. We got the Hulk Hogan with the Bear Hug. One of my least favorite figures of all time in the Hasbro line, I gotta be honest there. I did not like Bear Hug Hogan. Just the playability factor was not there for young Kyle. We did get this one, which I absolutely love. That's why it's at number 3. One of the most playable Hasbro figures of any. Not just Hulk Hogan, but any. Absolutely love this one. This Hulk Hogan rise to fame just because he was so fun to use, so fun to play with. This was my play in Hulk Hogan. I use this all the time. We did get other Hulk Hogans in the line. We got the Mail Away, of course. It was based off this mold. But then we got the Jake the Snake version, I always call it, of Hulk Hogan with the punch arm. That is a terrible Hulk Hogan as well. The Bear Hug and that one, fighting for who's the worst Hasbro of all time. It's between those two for me. But this Hogan, tan, jacked, big, beautiful arms for clotheslines, headlocks, body slams, all kinds of stuff. The bandana, the ready-to-go face. Doesn't get better in the Hasbro world. And like I said, Hulk Hogan was never my top favorite guys. I love the guys with face paints, the LODs, the Demolitions, the Ultimate Warriors, Mr. Perfects, Bret Harts. Those were some of my favorites. But Hogan, I couldn't not put this one to the side. This one had to be in there just because of the playability, the name Hulk Hogan. He brought some glamour to your childhood figure-fed card, of course. You needed a Hulk Hogan in there, and this was the one all day long I was choosing. I'd be interested to know what you think. Was this the best Hulk Hogan Hasbro for you? This is the best Hulk Hogan Hasbro. You'll never be able to change my mind, but I'd be interested to hear. Some of you guys might say the Gorilla Press Slam one. I can't imagine anybody says Bear Hug is number one or the Jake the Snake body one. I just can't see that happening, but you guys tell me what your favorite Hasbro was. But for number 3 for me, this is the one. This is Hasbro Hulk Hogan. All right, we're down to the final 2. And actually, I should have said in the last one, but the final 3 for me was very tough. It was very tough to decide. It took me a couple of weeks to finally get to the answer in my heart. I had to sleep on it a few nights. Not just one night, but a few nights. I put them back and forth, but 1 through 3, a thin margin. And most of these top 5s, that's kind of the way it is. It's always usually pretty close. Very rarely is there a runaway winner. Every once in a while we get that, but we didn't get that quite here. But number 2 for me, I'm going back to the childhood. I got to, and I've said it in this video numerous times, Hulk Hogan was not my top guy, but I couldn't doubt what Hulk Hogan brought to you as a playing day, the credibility he brought to your Fig Fed, I guess we would say. And we talked about LJN Hulk Hogan earlier on, the first incarnation. Well, that was what it was. I used him. I just didn't like the positioning of him. It just didn't set my world on fire. But what did set my world on fire as a young kid, and that's why he's number 2, we're talking LJN Hulk Hogan. We're talking the white shirt edition Hulk Hogan. This I got with the black cards about the same time. This is what I wanted. Very similar to that Hasbro, much better playability here. He could do the big fist. He could do clotheslines, elbows, bulldogs, all the Hulk Hogan moves you want to do. This figure was ready to do it. And the white and the red, it just all went together. Absolutely love this Hulk Hogan. This jumped to my number 1 Hulk Hogan. And it wasn't until many, many years later when the internet became a thing, and you could look up stuff, that I found out there was a red shirt of this Hulk Hogan. I never saw that ever. Didn't even know it existed. So I was very surprised. But between the two, the white shirt wins all day. I just like the cleanliness, the clean of the white and the red, the pose here, the face scan here. Just a tremendous Hulk Hogan figure. And this one did all kinds of damage. You know, my LJN days and my Hasbro days playing with toys, Hulk Hogan and Andre were always the battle for me. That was always kind of the battle that went on. That was the side one. Ultimate Warrior was always at the top with the world title, wrestling everybody under the sun, teaming with the LOD, teaming with Demolition sometimes. But Hogan and Andre were always on the card a lot of times. They had just a blood feud that went on for years. This was long after WrestleMania 3, but they were so iconic together. $1 Million Man would be in the mix too. But just having that black strap Andre figure, this Hulk Hogan, it's just everything you wanted. They always were part of the battle in my Hasbro and my LJN. And much like that last Hasbro, this was my playing Hulk Hogan. That other Hulk Hogan, he went to the back of the box. I didn't really even touch him ever again after I got this one. This one is so iconic to me. This is why it's front and center up in my LJN collection. It just truly is a game changer Hulk Hogan figure. And very possibly could have been number 1, but didn't quite make my list. And you guys better get your bets in with Vegas right now. So a lot of you people are probably scratching your head saying, what could number 1 be? We've seen so many iconic Hulk Hogans. What is number 1? Well, stay tuned. Get your list together because number 1 is coming up now. All right, we've come to the end. We've come to the end of the Kyle Peterson top 10 Hulk Hogan figures of all time. As voted by me, I want to see your list. This is my list, as you guys know. Let's see what you got. But number 1 to me, I always say, when you close your eyes, what Hulk Hogan figure do you think of? Yes, I think of those LJNs and Hasbros for sure. But when I think of what one got Hulk Hogan right, for when I think of Hulk Hogan, and no doubt Hulk Hogan has had so many gear changes, so many different looks over the year. It all kind of relates back to being Hulk Hogan. We've seen him in the blue. We've seen him in the red and yellow, just the red, the yellow, the black and white, the black and red. We've seen him in many different colors. But it always comes back to probably the age bracket you're at. When you think of Hulk Hogan, what do you think of? And number 1 for me, I just took a while. I was like, this can't be number 1. I got to sleep on it. And it kept coming back to number 1 for me. And it's something we've seen in this video before. We've seen it in the video before, like I said. But it's 1 of 7. We have 7 different versions of Hulk Hogan in this toy line. And what am I talking about? Storm Collectibles. For the second time on this, we see Storm Collectibles Hulk Hogan. But this time we're at number 1. And some of you guys are probably like, this guy's lost his mind. But under the reasons I just gave you guys, number 1 for me, Hulk Rules Hulk Hogan. The Hulk Rules shirt is the most iconic Hulk Hogan shirt for me. It goes back to the Hasbro. We've seen it before. We've seen it just recently. We'll have this on the channel as well, of course. Hulk Rules, the Survivor Series, the latest Mattel. It's an iconic shirt. Hulk rules. I remember the poster back in the day. So that's when I think of Hulk Hogan. That's the time frame I'm thinking of. And this Storm Collectibles is just too good. The soft goods is amazing here. The tan, the size of Hogan, and then the head sculpt, just absolutely next level. This is Hulk Hogan shrunk down in form. I know some people don't like Storm Collectibles. I get that. There's people, I absolutely hate the TNA Marvel Toy Biz figures. I hated the WCW Toy Biz figures. Not for me. Bendy's not for me. We all have our lines we like and we don't like, but I absolutely love what Storm brings to the table with this one. Yes, it is a little bit more expensive figure. I'm sure it's pretty expensive this day and age, but when I think of Hulk Hogan, I close my eyes. Like I said, I had to sleep on it. I had to keep going back to the well. I kept being drawn back to this one. Just the red and yellow popping, the cross, and the head scan, the Hulk Rule shirt. It's everything I want in a Hulk Hogan figure. This is Hulk Hogan in figure form as far as I'm concerned. Just absolutely next level. It comes with a beautiful Hulk Rules stand. Storm Collectibles knocked this one out of the park. All 7 Hulk Hogan Storm Collectible figures are amazing, but the 2 I showed in here made my top 10 list. I did a top 20 list. The rest of them would have been in the gang. I'm not sure where they would have been at, but they would have been in the top 20 list. But for me, number 1 of all time, a surprise. I'm sure a lot of you guys didn't guess this. I wouldn't be shocked if nobody guessed this. But the Hulk Rules Storm Collectibles Hulk Hogan, number 1. So you guys tell me your thoughts on my list. Put your list in the comments below. I'll read every single one of them. So I'm very interested to see where you guys come in with the Hulk Hogan top 10. Make sure you like this video, of course, after you leave a comment. You've made it this far. Might as well give it a like. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the old notification bell. We're on the march to 10,000, and I need your guys' help. You guys backed the New Gen Ring. A lot of you guys backed Galactus. Back Kyle Peterson. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And guess what? It's free. It's free. I'm not even going to charge you $250. It's free because I want to get to that top 10 Ultimate Warrior list. I'm wanting to dig in on Ultimate Warrior, but we got to hit 10,000 first. We'll do giveaways. We'll do a lot of stuff. So asking for your guys' help. Feel free to share this video, any of that kind of stuff. Retweet it, whatever you got to do. But the top 10 Hulk Hogan is in the book, and I'm anxious to see your list. So like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Follow me on social media at SirPaul64 on Twitter, _Kyle_Peterson on Instagram, and of course, ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson, buy a t-shirt, support the channel, support the channel. So there it is, Storm Collectibles number 1. Give me your top 10 list. And for Hulk Hogans and Hulkamaniacs everywhere, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.